Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Leading Safely podcast. I can actually make you a promise right now as you begin this episode. This one is controversial and thought-provoking. Not that all of my others have not been controversial or thought-provoking, but I say that because whenever I've previously seen my special guest present, heads shook in the audience, people commented, and some even vocalised their non-agreements with what is being said. But my special guest puts things so succinctly. When I told him in person that he was extremely thought-provoking, he said, "Georgina, that is my job. I am a researcher." The researcher that I'm referring to is none other than Nektarios Karanikis, Associate Professor in Health, Safety and the Environment at Queensland University of Technology. Nektarios spent 18 years and 2 months as part of the Hellenic Air Force in Greece, where he worked his way up from aeronautical engineer, leading the quality and maintenance management teams, to lecturer and instructor in human factors, safety management and OHS. He also won multiple Golden Cross medals for his time in the Air Force. Nektarios then moved into a more academic type roles before landing his current role at QUT. He holds a doctorate in professional studies of safety and quality management, as well as a master's degree in human factors and safety assessment in aeronautics. This chat actually threw me in one particular area. And when I say threw me, I mean I had to second guess and kind of double think about what I actually thought and what were my own views. So, be prepared to spend the rest of your day questioning what you currently know about health and safety leadership, as well as health and safety professionals and the titles that we have for our positions. That's all I'm going to say for now, so let's get into it. So, hi Nektarios, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with me. I know obviously you're super busy at the university, so appreciate you taking time. As you know, I ask all of my guests the same 3 juicy questions, and the first one is, what do you think makes an effective leader when it comes to health and safety?
First of all, thanks for the invitation, Georgina, and the excellent evening event yesterday. And I encourage everyone to support this initiative. I will answer your question by starting saying that I have concerns when we put safety at the front of many words, like a safety leader. So we must have a very good reason to do that. Because to me, a leader is somebody that doesn't focus only on one business, organizational area, discipline or objective. You cannot lead people towards one direction, which is safety, and you forget all other things. So when an organization starts talking about safety leadership, to me means that safety is not yet integrated into the business. It's like an indirect acknowledgement that we have failed to make health and safety part of the business. So in this case, I accept we can use the term safety leadership. Interestingly, of course, we haven't seen many books, publications or titles about quality leader, security leader, financial leader, leadership or whatever. So it's only about safety, which I understand once more because safety is a construct. It's not something you touch, it's something you observe, and we tend to underestimate what health and safety is, what roles play, what a role plays in the organization, and we drift into more tangible things like services and products. So, saying that, literature distinguishes between 3 main types of leadership: transactional, transformational, and servant. And for some reason, there's a connotation that being a transactional leader is a bad thing.
Okay.
That being a transformational leader, it's positive, and if you can become a servant leader, It's beautiful. It's excellent.
Okay.
Which actually I contest. I had during my experience, my years of working in the defense sector, I was leading teams, small teams or larger teams, and I never used a single approach. Depending on the context, depending on the criticality of a situation, depending on how much time you have, resources, capacity, and what you need to achieve, I think you can combine all those three. So when I was, not myself, when the system was under pressure and we had to do something to deliver, I was transactional. Okay, I was saying, guys, this is what we must do. You have the knowledge, the technical expertise, this is my plan. We don't have time to discuss it now, apologies.
Yeah, okay.
We should do that. I hope it will work. If it doesn't, we're gonna reflect after.
Yeah.
But I took the whole responsibility. Then there were instances where I had the time.
Yep.
And to be able to be transformational, so to lead people through changes and not decide on their behalf. So we're sitting together, we want to make change, why to make a change, have you tried that before, side effects, any risks around that, what we can get, and so on. So transformational leadership is more about honest, transparent consultation with the people that you, let's say, engage.
Yeah.
And then the servant leadership is when you go beyond the organizational objectives and you try to understand and accommodate the needs of individuals.
Okay.
Which was also part of my job. So when somebody, for some reason, needed help, or I could see a person not in a good mood, I would approach privately, because those are, of course, personal circumstances, had the chat, and then I was trying really to serve this person. So the distinction when it comes to safety leadership, which has the same, let's say, categories, it is only there to me to understand the three modes that a leader can function, to be mindful when those can be applicable. Now, of course, if somebody is only transactional, regardless of the context, the capacity, the time, then we have a problem there, meaning that's very authoritative, quite autocratic.
Yeah.
If somebody is transformative only, there are occasions they cannot deliver.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the time to consult with them, and each time you need to make a decision and go ahead.
Yeah.
And if somebody is servant alone, means that forgets more or less the organization as a system, because even when you try to accommodate the needs of individuals, those can conflict sometimes. You cannot keep everyone happy.
Yeah.
You need to compromise by, of course, acknowledging to everyone that, sorry, I cannot help everyone to the same degree. We're going to focus where let's say, the biggest problem is. Now, in more technical, that's, let's say, the technical part. To me, who is a leader? A safety leader. It's the person that shares with the team unconditionally ideas, dreams, talents, gifts. So not keeping that for him or herself, but being very generous to share, to show the way to people, without being, of course, absolute, but giving them the means, the options, the triggers, so they can be better and perform better.
Okay.
A leader needs followers, otherwise you don't have a leader. If you don't have followers. And followers do not, we cannot get them from granted. So it's about everything we have read about integrity, about honesty, transparency. My only concern is that all of us mostly discuss about the qualities of a leader, which I accept. We don't really discuss about the destination. So where do we lead people to?
It's true.
We had very great leaders in the past. They led whole countries into disasters. And they had very passionate, very, I would say, obsessively attached followers.
Yes.
And nobody challenged those leaders because they're charismatic. So we must be careful. It's not only the charisma, the talents and the gifts and skills, experience, ideas. It's the destination. So yes, I'm leading you where to.
Perfect, I think. So then, what would be your words of wisdom, for someone who's come up against a wall when it comes to health and safety, and for people who don't particularly want to change? So they might be in their workplace and they're having to have conversations, and they come up against people who are very staunch and very strong-minded and don't want to make any compromises.
First of all, is it bad not to change? Why should everyone change? Okay. That's not a question we can answer, of course, today. But this is something we must ask ourselves before going to the next step, how we're going to deal with somebody that doesn't want to change.
Yes.
Okay. The second thing to contemplate is this change imposed or agreed? And to what extent there is honest agreement? Yesterday I talked about leaving the disagreements behind and seeing how we can reconcile what is possible with what we agree.
Yeah.
People, ourselves, we don't want to change if there is no reason.
It's true.
So most probably those persons do not see the reason. Because change means an investment of our energy. Physical energy, cognitive energy, and emotional investment.
Yeah.
Okay, and we are all resistant to change because we have, let's say, conditioned in an environment, habituated, and then somebody says, you need to forget part of what you did, and now you need to do it different. Say, why this? We increase the entropy of the system when we talk about changes. So we need to understand that also. The third thing, maybe people have poor, weak, unfortunate experiences from the past with changes. Maybe the change that Georgina wants to make was trialed 5-10 years ago, before Georgina came, and didn't work.
Yeah.
Or they promised something and they didn't deliver. And after contemplating all of those things, just gather them together, go to this person and have an honest discussion. Sometimes people resist to change not because they don't believe in change, it's because they don't trust the change agents. So sometimes it's a way for people to protest silently against other practices of management that maybe do not have to do with health and safety.
Yeah.
But they say, okay, that's my opportunity now to resist.
I think I've definitely witnessed that before.
And the last thing we need to contemplate before entering the discussion is everyone going to change, or are you asking that only from me? How's management going to change? How's my supervisor going to change?
Yeah.
So are we going to change altogether? Or is the change very local that you ask for me for your benefit, that they take nothing out of that? So I think we have those people. I had, when I was a manager, people that didn't want to change. And this is how I approach them. Let's sit together. Why don't you? That's my understanding. I had occasions, as I said before, they said, well, we did that, 10 years ago before you came. Okay, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Let's discuss.
Yeah.
And it's everything about communication, about trust, about relationships.
Yeah.
We don't if we feel that because we decided to put a process in place and people should just do it without a question and doubt, we're delusional. Humans are not machines. They're not programmable entities where you enter the code, press enter, and they execute it.
It's true. So perhaps don't get them to change, is what you're saying.
No, perhaps get the preparation, get prepared with those questions, the few questions I said, before approaching anyone that resists to change.
Okay, that's good to know. And then what about the last question around if you could invent something to solve a health and safety issue in the workplace, where you had as much money as you needed, nobody's opinions mattered, and you could do anything you wanted to solve a workplace health and safety issue, what would be your invention? Why would you make it, create it, unless you've already created it?
Yeah. Let's do not enter into academic debates whether we create safety, but I think what we're missing, although we discuss about it for decades now, is integration.
Integration.
Yes, I don't know how, you have the resources, what resources I would need to make health and safety part of the business as other areas in the business.
Yeah.
Starting from health and safety governance at the board level, senior management, down the line, through the whole system. How can I make procurement think about health and safety when they pick the cheapest, solution? Because they have to protect the budget. I understand, because they're monovision. How can I work together with the quality department to say, yes, we must keep our customers happy, and we should do that, but not at the expense of mental and physical health problems and issues. This sounds reactive. I would say, let's go a step back. When we make strategic decisions, when we say what changes we're going to implement, health and safety should be on the table, and it's not.
Yeah.
Although we sermon about that, and we make even senior management sometimes health and safety is part of what we do. My experience is that this is not true. Even when sometimes when I was at the Air Force as health and safety staff, when they were asking me, what are you doing there as an officer? I say, I'm doing health and safety. What is that? Even colleagues from other sections, departments, could not really understand. So, what do you mean you contribute, to health and safety? Had I have the power and the resources and the capacity, I would. And it's not about education, because most of the colleagues think that we need to educate our board, which is good, it's not enough. And it's not about also, I see other approaches of fear. You're gonna go to jail because now in Queensland, for example, with the industrial manslaughter. Those should be the extremes. Okay. We need to find ways, and we haven't. One of my Mentimeter, I was the one who said how to persuade senior management about health and safety. That's I think one of the biggest problems. The technical solutions, we have many. We have models investigation, we have our audits, we have standards, we have for risk management, we have industrial ventilation, we have our PPE, whatever. We have, technical solutions. I haven't seen any, let's say, tangible, realistic, pragmatic approach to integrate things. Yes.
Right. So business as usual, health and safety being integrated instead of it being a separate department, instead of it being...
It's not about the department, it's about health and safety as a concept, as something we do, we talk, we consider, we plan
every day, in any role.
In any role, any decision we make.
Yeah. That sounds like a lovely place to live. I would happily subscribe to wherever that existed. However, it seems like sometimes it's a long road to get there, and takes some very long steps and long journeys.
I want to add to that, Georgina, sorry for interrupting you. And this, I think, links to the last the discussion today. Do we really want integration as health and safety staff? Or are we afraid of losing our authority and power when we talk about integration? We want to make or to contribute or to influence only us.
Yeah. The
discussions about health and safety and the decisions made. So this is something we need to reflect on.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I would be happy for health and safety staff in general, and it sounds terrible, to not have a job, because the what you just said, the construct itself is assimilated into every role and every aspect of the business, and therefore you don't need a dedicated person to go and put your poster up. You don't need a dedicated person to do activities that don't contribute to the safety.
But no, this would not happen because the environment changes, the risk changes. So we need health and safety experts, knowledgeable people, with the expertise to support the business when the business is making decisions, applying changes or whatever. So no, I cannot say the perfection is that everyone talks about safety and we don't need the health and safety staff, because then there's another danger there. Those patients maybe cannot see things. You need somebody to update also everyone about what happened next door, about changes in industry practice, in technical solutions. That's the role of health and safety staff here.
Sure.
Okay, but once more, let's reflect. Do we want others to do health and safety, or do we want us to be the one?
Yeah, I think I would like our listeners to consider that question as well. I know I've definitely met some health and safety staff in my time who are very much about communicating their authority and their influence, as opposed to empowering people to think about it in a different way.
So yes, should I talk now about the
health
and safety law? So I have two recent examples that made me think. One was last year with a student at QUT. We were talking about risk management and specifically risk assessment. And I asked the student, works for a medium-sized enterprise, just to share experiences. I mean, what do you do?
Okay.
And I asked him, how do you do the risk assessment? I say, I'm sitting on my desk, I have my registry, good, and I do the risk assessment. I say, alone? Yes. Okay. Say, why so? So the problem here is not that it is a problem that he does the risk assessment alone, because this is not the spirit.
Sure, that was spirit.
Is that he never realized or he never questioned, why do I do that? So he found it very interesting, if not surprising, when we started discussing about risk assessment is not one person's job. You need to combine the operational expertise from the field, workers, linemen, the ones that the risk is about.
That do the work.
And your technical expertise and health and safety, of course, to put those together, discuss, debate, and then going ahead. I don't mind that much if you say which level it's green, yellow, or whatever, but the discussion itself, sharing, bottom up, top down, direction of information and make things agreeable and work. So that's an example of a person that sees himself as the central point for health and safety.
Yeah.
And I asked, what is your job title? I'm the health and safety manager. Say, okay, that makes sense. Then I have another very recent experience with a recent graduate from our diploma, and he found a job. And the job title was health and safety manager. He said, no. Oh, okay. He's a friend actually. Said, what did you ask for? I asked him to change the title. Okay, I want to be health and safety officer. Oh my God, that's even worse.
Okay.
So, it is surprising to me that after leaving my military career and transitioning to academia, and then of course getting exposed to what the rest of the industry does, that we have those titles, health and safety manager or health and safety officer. Starting from, back in the defense sector, we never had a health and safety manager. We have the director of the health and safety department. That's a different thing. We have the lead of the health and safety office, or the head of the office, or whatever you name it. And why we had those job roles? Because we didn't want to generate impressions that the health and safety department manages health and safety, because it does not.
Yeah.
I asked colleagues here in Australia and say, it's nice to be called the manager. Okay, call yourself manager of the department, of the office, of whatever structure you have. You don't. It's wrong to say health and safety manager. The connotation, when somebody listens to what is your job, health and safety manager, say, you manage health and safety. That's the very
correct.
Okay, very human, very reasonable thought to make. I will discuss about that, but now the health and safety officer, it is used in some regions. Not very common in, let's say Western-minded countries. Means authority. An officer has an authority.
Correct.
Okay, so if you have authority over decisions as a health and safety officer and operations, which originates from senior management, I don't have any issue with your title health and safety officer, as long as you have the power not to influence, to decide,
to make those decisions.
to make the decision, the real decision.
Yeah. So almost aligning with the officer definition in the act.
Definition,
Yeah.
If you don't have this role, you cannot. You are not part of the strategic decisions of the organization. There is no reason to call yourself a health and safety officer. Also, you need to consider when somebody asks, "You're an officer," what the connotation again? Whom are you working for?
True.
For the health and safety, or are you like the watchdog of senior management that tries to capture non-compliance, defects and failures, and transfer them up to the chain of command? No, it's the decision of the colleagues who listen to this conversation. Now, with the management part, it is when I ask this friend now, why don't you want a health and safety manager role? Say, because you don't have any people. I am just alone, just a single person, so whom to manage? Say, okay, I think we're talking about two different things. So how do you have 2 or 3 persons reporting to you? Would you like to be called health and safety manager? Say yes. Say no.
Okay.
Because management, it's not about managing people. It's about managing the resources that are available to people to perform the tasks that match, of course, their skills, knowledge, and experience, and we have agreed upon.
Okay.
That's the other thing with the roles. Even if you say it's in the department, not health and safety, what do you mean by that? Every manager, if you read management literature, it is about how, you have a pool of resources as a manager, including time, technology, software, everything. If you say I'm manager Gina, it is inhumane because you're not a resource to manage.
Okay.
You're my colleague. You are helping me, I'm helping you to achieve some objectives, to deliver something. I'm managing the resources available to you to do whatever we have agreed that you will do.
Yeah. Okay.
And then those also management roles can mean that the workers that we try to approach see us as appointees by managers, senior managers. So you're not, although you are a worker,
A waiter.
legally worker.
A worker, yes.
Legally,
yes,
you are a worker.
The act. Yep, correct.
You have this management role, and the workers do not see you as a worker, as a colleague. You're like, you're appointee. And the last thing I would like to add to this discussion is transferring some experience from the aviation sector. So what happens there? We have a aviation safety or health and safety departments. Especially for operational safety, aviation safety, I'm not aware of any or many companies, aviation companies, there is a full-time position for what we call safety manager or manager of the department. So what it happens, an airline captain, is the head of the aviation safety department and spends about 2-3 days a week, and is an operational captain and flies the aircraft the other 2-3 days of the week. And this is how they have achieved those impressive records in aviation, because it's not only about the manager. All staff, excluding administrative staff, but the let's say operational staff with health and safety or aviation safety roles, they go and work on the field.
Okay.
So those have many benefits.
Yeah.
You see what is happening.
Yeah.
And you make more informed decisions. You know whom to engage. And most importantly, you feel the effects of your decisions when you go through.
That's true, isn't it? It's true.
So this is not happening in other industries.
No.
So those people, they are part of operations, are not just managers of a department or staff within a department with responsibility to support, to monitor, things about health and safety. They do the real work.
Okay.
And they're integrated. So we started with integration. This is a form of how health and safety becomes integrated. So I don't know, I don't have a picture of the whole Australia, but to my experience, very few, if any, health and safety officers, staff, managers, you name them, spend 3 days in their office and 2 days outdoors in the construction site, carrying whatever load, doing manual handling, being under the hot sun there, and then leave it back to the office and say, okay, how it feels.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you there.
This should be, I think, the big change in the health and safety profession.
Do you think there's a space for health and safety representatives? Like that's almost
The health and safety, no, the health and safety representatives are elected members of the workforce to represent. They have limited technical knowledge about health and safety.
So you're talking about a safety.
You're talking about the
staff
health and safety staff, which are appointed. You are employed, you have a contract, but I would like to see, I don't know, 5, 10, 20 years, how many years from now, that health and safety personnel go out and do the job, not walk around and we have our nice cabinets out and we pat people at the back. Oh no, so I know it's important, but we're going to make it better for you.
Yeah.
It's okay, but you will never be part of them. You will never be a real colleague of them, and you will never feel the pain or the benefits and the pleasure out of decisions that you influence at the organizational level. That's integration, Georgina.
It's perfect. Thanks, Nectarios. That's a lot to have to think about, but I like the idea of integration. Yeah, it's a very good concept, and hopefully, who knows, maybe people start to take it on board within your organization.
Now, maybe it's very revolutionary to think.
3 days or 2 days.
Start with an hour.
Yeah.
Get rid of your whatever nice dress, whatever, put the uniform on, your vest or whatever, helmet, and go do the job. Not supervising and monitoring and auditing and inspecting. You need to do that, and you don't. But for some of your time,
you should
be part of it.
Pleased you to know that when I worked for a construction company in Queensland, even as a female, even as this young person, I did get out with the supervisors and I put up temp fencing. I dug the holes with the guys on the ground and came home covered in dirt for roughly two days a week. Correct. The rapport that was built with the work crew in that time, I'm still connected to some of those gentlemen that I worked with 10, 15 years later. So I agree with you completely.
I had 100 people, to be accountable for them. And when I was feeling the pressure and I was asking too much, I was not sitting in the office. I was going there and pushing the trolleys and the engines to get into I didn't do much. Because I didn't have the technical expertise. I was just giving a helping hand. And they appreciated that so much that it was part of the team.
Great concept. Thank you so much again for your time and for sharing that. Right. So what did you get out of that chat with Nectarios? Have you worked out which section of the chat threw me? I won't lie, I am a little scared of him, because you just know that no matter what your view is on anything health and safety related, his view on it will be so unique and so insightful that he's going to make you second guess your own opinion or view, regardless of how long you felt that way or how confident you are in those beliefs. So, that brings us to the end of another episode. I know you definitely will have gotten something out of this one to think about or maybe even implement. Until next time, stay safe.